Good morning, class. My name is Tim Lynch, and I'm here to talk to you today about research for the ENG 491 class with Professor Waldrop, and the topic is Truman Capote. So the reason that I start with this screen here is because this is probably where you're going to start. Um, you get into a browser and you open it up to the university webpage. And what I'd like to say is you can access the library webpage if you go down to the bottom and find My USM right here. And some of you may have this lighter blue screen as your portal page. In fact, what you want to do is, if you do have this screen, go to Campus Portals and put under University of Southern Maine so that you get the correct portal screen. Now, at the top, once you're on this page, you want to go across the top until you get to Academics, and then come down until you get to Libraries. There'll be an intervening page here, and the third link down should give you a library website. So here is the library website, and what's important is that since we took this path to get to it, we've preserved our connection to the server, and so you can gain access to all the ebooks and all the journal articles and what have you by going through this procedure. Okay, this is the library webpage, and if you come down a little ways, you find that you can access OneSearch and Ursus catalog and the databases and guides. And I want to spend a bit of time on the databases and guides area here because this is where you can find our libguides. So if you go to databases and guides and subject guide, this will allow you to find our subject areas, and English is where you want to go for your class. And then page down until you get to ENG 491 Seminar in Literature since 1900. And this is the site that I created for you guys so that you will be able to quickly find information about Truman Capote and his various works. Okay? So the first thing I want to do is show you that we have a presentation resource for this guide, and we'll get to that. Take a look at some of the other things that we have on this guide. The databases for, well, actually, that's not correct. That's not correct. So I'm going to have to redo that. Here are the databases that you want to use for the guide, and I will fix that immediately at the top because that's not correct. All right, so if we go to this area here, you can see that there's plenty of library essential stuff that you can access, like e-reserves and interlibrary loan and your library account, things like that. And up here at the top we have these tabs, and I want to click on presentation resources. And in presentation resources, what I want to show you is that there is a worksheet called Surrounding a Topic. So when we surround a topic, what we're trying to do is find out what databases have what information about our topic. So if I start to read here, it says, when you surround a topic area, you look for specific keywords in databases that you believe could be beneficial to your search. For example, I might start with the search Capote and In Cold Blood. Or I could search Capote and criticism, or Capote and nonfiction novel, or In Cold Blood and character. for example. So the first one is an author search, right, with the title as the second keyword. The second one is an author search, author's last name, and then the idea of criticism as opposed to biography or some other aspect that you're looking at this person's work. Capote and nonfiction novel is sort of a topic that perhaps is relevant to one or more of Truman Capote's works, and so you can use that as a way to narrow in on that one particular aspect of his work. And then the final one is In Cold Blood instead of Capote. So in other words, instead of looking for the author, now you're looking for the title first. And criticism can be found both in author information and also in title information. And then you could attach anything to this secondary characteristic. Like for example, the word character may include character development or the characters in that novel or short story, and that could be replaced with an actual character, or it could be thought of more like an English sort of convention, like character or tone or structure, or something along that line that has a more analysis based look to it. So once you decide on a topic, you can try it in a number of databases. You might have to make slight changes in the keywords if the subject matter of the database requires it. For example, if you are in a literature database, the keyword literature may not help your search. So that's just a quick indication to look at the database that you're actually searching to see if it might have some caveat that would make sense for a search or would not make sense for a search. The next section, it says search the topic in relevant databases. Numbers of successful articles will change depending on the database and or search strategy. This approach should help you narrow the databases that will be most useful to you, or provide articles in each database's sometimes unique perspective. So the idea is that some databases are going to have more information on your topic, but some databases might look at it from a very particular angle, and so you wouldn't want to miss out on that database, and so it makes sense to search that database from that perspective. Okay, so the next part of the worksheet says choose your topic statement. Explain your topic in one sentence, often found in the form of a question. So that's an excellent way to start your research. What we can do here is I can type in a question. How is the topic of psychology represented in the novel In Cold Blood? Right, so here's our approach for our first research question. So if you take this question and you tear it apart and you say, okay, what are the keywords that are part of this question? You might decide that one of your keywords might be psychology, right? And the other keyword might be the title of the work, which is in cold blood. Okay? And if you look at this as it might be associated with Truman Capote, the idea of psychology could have synonyms, right? So you could say um, mental health, or some other, some other word that might mean mental health, and then instead of in cold blood, you could just put the author's last name, Capote. So here's two possible searches. And you might notice that I only have two keywords in my search. And when you're doing a literature search, it's best to approach very gently. You don't want to overwhelm the database with a lot of keywords, because in many cases, what you're looking for is something that is associated with your topic. I mean, it's great to go, full on to your topic, and that's a great boon when you actually find something like that. But in many cases, you want to surround your topic, and you want to just see what's out there under the concept of psychology and in cold blood, or psychology and Capote, right? So in the idea of surrounding one's database, what you're going to do is you're going to look at a number of databases. Here I have Academic Search Complete, Academic OneFile, Literature Resource Center, Oxford Reference, MLA International Bibliography, etc. And all of these searches can be done quite quickly, and you can find out just what is available in all of these databases, because they hopefully will have some pretty good information. And when you search all of them, you get a larger grouping of articles to search through, right? So let's go back and try to search for some of these and see what we get. If I go back to my search here under Home, and I go to Academic Search Complete, which is the first database on my ENG 491 LibGuide, I can get, this is the page that I'll enter my information. So let's look at Capote and psychology, and let's I have to spell psychology right. Whoop. And we do a search. So the first one has 24 hits, right? So that's great to know, because we want to be able to look through a number of different things. And this particular one at the top, it looks like we don't have the right author. So we'd skip this one and move on to the next one. On superficiality, Truman Capote and the ceremony of style. Okay, so as I look in the subject areas, I can see that these are not only referring to Capote, but also psychology. So we're kind of on target here, right? We could click on this item, and we could do a subject search on something like psychology, or and then also Truman Capote. So here are a number of options that we could go for in the second part of our search. The first part of our search is, again, the surrounding of the topic. So we take a look at this and we say Capote and psychology, right? So what we can do now is we can say, okay, I really like that search. Now I'm going to see what else is available in another database. So I look at the other databases that I have, and one of those is MLA International Bibliography. So I unclick Academic Search Complete, and I click on MLA International Bibliography. I can use the same search that I just had, and it says there's one item here, how disgust works in Truman Capote's La Côte Basque, right? So now one is okay, but it's not as many as we would like. So what we might try to do is say, okay, remember how we had synonyms in our search? We thought to ourselves, okay, psychology is good, but maybe we want something else. So we can put in our Capote on one side, and then psychology or mental health, and see if that expands our search at all. No, okay, it didn't this time, but that's a good way to extend your search, right? There are other ways to extend your search. You could use what's called truncation. So if I get rid of the Y, I can put a star there, and that will follow through and get a search on anything that follows from those letters, right? That base, PSYCHOLOG. Let's see if that helps. It did help. So just by getting rid of a Y and putting a star there, I was able to get 4 more items, okay? So keep that in mind as you go through the databases. You can get more items by using synonyms, one, with an or in between, or using truncation and getting multiple forms of the word. All right, well, let's keep going. So now I'll undo MLA and I will do Humanities International Index. And we'll search that. And it says Humanities International Index here, which means we're all set. So let's do a search on that. 10. All right, so, and because we had this improved search of both a synonym and a truncation, we got a series of 10 articles that we can choose from. Okay, now this is one database vendor, but we have many others. So what I would suggest is go back to your guide that I created for you, and let's look at some other areas, like some other databases, like for instance Academic OneFile with InfoTrack collections. And I can do the same search here. Capote and psychology without the Y, or mental health in quotes. So the reason I put it in quotes is I want it to stay mental health. I don't want it to be health of a mental aspect, and so that's why I put it in quotes. It will keep it as a phrase that I want it to search. Okay, so this database got 9 hits, and you may notice that some of these hits are the same hits that I got in other databases. That's just an aspect of databases. When we buy databases, databases have their own choice as to what articles are in that database. We try not to overlap too much, but unfortunately there is going to be some overlap. But this database has 9 items in it. And if you're curious about this new database and how it might work, you can click on this one, And you can see that the full text is in a typed out version. And at the top, you can print the item, you can send the item to your email account, you can download it to a thumb drive, and there's also a citing feature. Now, whenever you use a citing feature, be very careful because you want to make sure that it's correct when you hand it in. And all of these databases do not have the correct information. You want to go to something like MLA manual, publication manual, or OWL Writing Lab, and both of those things are available on your ENG 491 guide. And obviously, if you have any questions about that, just let me know. All right, so what other databases do we have here? Well, here's one called Project Muse. Let's take a quick look there. So with this database, there's one line. And so what you want to do is you want to enter the information in this way. So Capote would be here, and then I put a parentheses around the area that I want to make a second line. So mental health or psychology, and I can back that off and get the other version that we had before and search. And we've got quite a few here. So with this one, what you might want to do is actually add a second item if you have that many, just to see if you could get more in depth in the search. So let's put in cold blood in this one and see if that narrows our search somewhat. Okay, what I'm seeing here is most likely the idea that it probably didn't find much, and that's why we're getting such high numbers, and it's just trying to fill in what we might possibly be able to use. So it doesn't look like this database is going to give us a lot of information. So I just want to check to see if there's anything. I think there will be. I'll just put Capote here. And there is some information on Truman Capote. So perhaps this one you would need even a lighter touch and just only have the word Capote, or perhaps it will work to do in cold blood. As a search. And there is, so that appears to be a better way to search this. Less in terms of in depth, and more in terms of just one keyword or one phrase. So less is more on this database, it looks like, at least with this topic. So you can continue on like that with your searches, and you can do all the searches that are available here and all the databases that are described here as well. So and if you come up with others, feel free to do that. There's nothing that says you can't come up with others. So I wanted to let you know that that's basically the way to search for literature information. And there's a lot of great stuff that I think you'll be able to find. I want you to think about these questions that I think I sort of answered along the way. What databases might you want to add to this list? Where can I find, or where can I search for databases by subject? That can be found right on the home page under that Browse All Databases. What are you noticing the differences between the databases? Are some databases better than others? Well, yeah, you can see that some of these databases are very good for your subject, and others are less so. And you can see also that there are a lot of differences between the databases and the way that they sort of organize information. Are you noticing the similarities in the databases? What features or limits do they have in common? Well, obviously they have ways to enter keywords in common. They have date ranges in common. They have the fact that you have peer-reviewed options in common, and all that is available to you as you search. What happens when you change a keyword or two? So as you can see, when I changed a keyword or two, I got very different results. Changing a keyword or two can make a big difference, whether it's subtracting a keyword or adding a keyword. Both of them will impact your search greatly. Try your search in one search. Is this approach more targeted or less targeted or the same? Okay, so we haven't done that. Let's try that. If I go to the home page here, and I go to the website, and I go to one search, when I do a search on Capote and psychology, I could choose a date range, but I think I'll just wait and see. 269 things. So there's a lot of good information here that also you could use for your topics. These are both books, book chapters, and articles. And some of these are going to be available, and some of these are going to have to be requested via interlibrary loan. So I hope that you can make use of both of those. If, let me see, if for instance I find a let's do this one here. I don't see a lot of, okay, it's a web resource. So something like this, because it's a web resource, it probably wouldn't be available to us via the requester system, right? You could add it to bag and request it via Ursus, but in this case, what we would do is instead try to find it in print, if that's an option. We try to find it in print, and we could go to the library homepage. Again, let's go to the library. Where are we here? let's go to the library homepage and then click on interlibrary loan. And then once you enter your information for interlibrary loan, let's see here. We could enter that information under book and fill this out as needed. Now, if there's an article linker, it's a lot easier to fill this out. It'll actually fill out for you. But once you get this information out, what you can do is you want to look at this and say, what's the MAC cost? That'll be 0. Campus pickup location. If it's an actual book, you are going to put a campus pickup location wherever you want it delivered. If it's an article, it's going to come right to the website, so you don't even have to worry about that and just pick something. It's a notes, because this is an email. It can be easily just written in text, and you can also use NA or none if, for example, there was no item that you found on a particular required area. Once you hit submit, you'll get an outstanding request right here, and then if you have an article, you can click right under this view where it says electronically received articles, and that will allow you to get the item that you requested in about 24 hours, which is a very fast turnaround. All right, so, and if for any reason you didn't realize when we first started, if you don't have an account, you can create one right here, and you'll never have to put that information in again, but you will have to choose a new username and choose a new password. And so you'll be burdened with those, but the good news is that you will have a very quick turnaround on your requests for interlibrary loan. In other words, books and articles from other locations. Okay, so coming back to this ENG 491, I wanted to show you that the books section under here is a wealth of information. We have many books that you can find both online and in print, and you can enjoy both critical and biographical works, and there are a ton of them that Professor Waldrop has made sure are here for your benefit, and I very much encourage you to use those. All right. Well, I hope that helps you approach or attack your research, and if you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact me as your liaison to the English department. You can email me, you can access me in person in 217 Glickman. You can call me, that's my number in my office, and all of these things are available to you free of charge, and we very much want you to make use of our services. So thank you very much, and I hope you have a great semester, and please don't be a stranger. Thanks again.